welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Lagavulin 18-year-old from Fèis Ìle 2018. 6,000 total bottles. Here's one of them. Dustin, this bad boy comes in at 53.9% ABV. I have bottle 1,379. Wood type, refill American oak hogsheads, rejuvenated American oak hogsheads, and ex-Bodega European sherry butts. So 3 different kinds of cask maturation. I brought to everyone a comparison of all 3 of the 18s from Lagavulin Special Edition, but never really got into an individual one. And even though you've had that, we thought it was about time to bring everybody an individual opinion on what I regarded as, poor yours a little heavy, sorry about that.
I'll live.
The least impressive of all of the 18-year-olds.
Yeah, now, you did say something I really like, though, Mike. Anytime I hear the word bodega, you know, I know we give Diageo some crap here and there, but when Diageo says bodega casks, they usually do add a sweetness that's just very unique and is really good. The negative is, I don't know how much of this was bodega, but well, how many bottles? 6,000?
6,000.
So we're not talking about a lot of casks. Even if just one was, that's still a good percentage.
Yeah, something to round out the flavor profile. All right, so this is a very light Lagavulin. So with all these Fèis Ìle bottlings, they are natural color, unchill filtered, and really Lagavulin the way I wish they'd make all their whiskey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care if it's light. I mean, this isn't as dark as the 16, but I don't care.
Not even a little. No, but it's got a nice viscosity, and you know this is probably a twinge darker than the 12, which I think is technically officially colored.
All right, let's get into it. You know I love Lagavulin, man.
Yeah.
That sweet malt is prominent
Sweet
on the nose
malt.
here.
I always get you that hint of lactose anytime I get into these Islas. Like it's lactose or like white powdered sugar.
That beautiful meaty oily smoke.
It's oily. Like you know, you said 53, which is kind of low for some of these special release Lagavulins, but
53.9, and this is 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean the 16 was higher, but you know they vary in age. Some are older, some younger. But 18's a good age.
I mean, wasn't the we've had some like 20 plus years that were higher. So this one's I think on the low side for these. And why I say that is because it nose is more oily.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's a heavily oiled sweet malt. This lovely vanilla smoke.
This is honestly like if somebody is freaking roasting a pig, man. Like salty, cured ham just being roasted.
So dense of a smell.
You know, it's interesting. When I first nosed it, I instantly picked up sherry, and then I go back, and I can't even find the sherry anymore because there's so much meaty, sweet, that aristocratic malt as you talk about it.
Aristocratic smoke. Yeah, it's almost like the oral fat. The factories, you know, just they get overwhelmed and the sweetness just goes away, and there's just so much oil and smoke here. This
is definitely, I mean, as these Lagavulin special releases go, this is on the smokier side. Not necessarily the peatier side, but the smokier. The smoke and ash is really high here.
I was gonna say not only smoke, but specifically like chimney ash. Not quite coal soot, but chimney ash smoke. Like this is just white ash.
And there's a medical note I'm picking up here. It's like the alcohol. It's a very clean, like we've just, sanitized the room, but it's not bleached. They use something else, and it's interesting. It's definitely it's a nice additive to an already just beautiful whiskey.
This isn't an overly sherry Lagavulin, but the cask do a nice job of not only caressing the whiskey for these 18 years, but on top of that, letting that distillery characteristic shine and bring most of the sweetness from that. What are you picking up on the palate?
So this was an odd one for me, Mike. I am getting a very vegetable note here. Like unlike anything I've ever experienced in a Lagavulin before. Instead of that sweet malt, I mean, it's there, but I'm getting a really overpowering, like a stew or something where you stewed a bunch of vegetables together, and it's bringing like a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of sourness, but like, very much like a lettuce and some other kind of things coming in there with that Lagavulin note. It was jarring, like cucumber almost.
Yeah, so for me, it's moss.
Okay.
It's almost like moss on stone. Still super oily, super smoky. You have to kind of get past all the smoky, ashy notes to get to the fruitier notes. I do think there's a nice peach here, maybe almost maybe a pear as well. But you're right, up front, man, it's an aggressive palate where it has not only a twinge of alcohol, but on top of that, I feel like the cask maybe
it's more than a twinge.
Yeah, overcharged the ashier notes to it.
Absolutely. I just threw the water in there and I had to go back to it. And I even had a little water. And at first I thought, oh, maybe I just messed up here. The vegetable notes have kind of subsided. Nope, they come right back in that finish. This is...
Cabbage.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very different... And I gotta say, Mike, I am not picking up 18 years on this one at all.
Red cabbage and moss, almost, on the aftertaste.
Yeah.
Maybe with a little bit of mushroom as well.
There's some umami mushroom notes here.
And tea, maybe black tea as well.
But it's not like a mushroom that you made for like with a steak where you put the sauce in. This is much less savory, much less like
this is
connoisseur cooking.
Yeah, this is
old world cooking.
This is Campbell's Chunky steak and potato because they add those little small mushrooms to it. It's almost like that, like mushroom with brown sauce with moss.
Yeah, it's not fine dining. It's like, hey, we just kind of threw some mushrooms in here.
Yeah, it's shepherd's pie.
Yeah. I gotta say, the nose has actually now gotten a little fruitier.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but way different experience on the palate than it was on the nose.
The nose is very fruity, sweet, smoky, but yeah, I mean, it's Lagavulin with a little bit of a twinge, whereas the mouth is just, it's old world cooking, Mike. That's all I can really, that's where I keep going back to, is old world cooking. It's
something your grandma made.
Something grandma made, and it wasn't to impress the family. It was just like, we were over there when you were a kid, she was babysitting you, and she was making something.
There were leftovers in the fridge. They couldn't last one more day. You threw everything into a pot, let it cook for 8 hours, and just threw it at the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost a little messy now on the nose.
I'm actually getting lemon pledge, and I don't mean like, oh, I get hints of lemon. I mean, I'm getting like legitimately, like, Mike, you just cleaned. Did you just clean in here? I mean, like.
Yeah, you're right. The lemon does come up, but then the peach is there too. Lemon, peach.
Yeah, and then there's like, again, the powdered sugar.
Sweetness is still there.
I'm getting a little less the ham, but I'm still getting the salt and savory.
Yeah, the water did take the viscosity on the nose down a little bit, so it doesn't drive like that super viscous oily.
It's not oily anymore now. You're right. It's sharper and cleaner.
Yes, sharper is another good way to say that.
I actually like it both ways pretty evenly though. This didn't hurt it. It's just it's different, but the palate remains just that. I don't know what I'm thinking on this palate, Mike.
Well, with Lagavulin, we've been surprised before, both positively and negatively, on some of the ones that aren't the overly sherried ones. Because again, the distillate kind of takes it a few different directions. The fact that you use 3 different types of casks, it's always a dangerous game sometimes when it comes to Lagavulin. Like to not stick with just one thing and go with it.
Yeah.
But I'll say this.
I think the Bodega didn't work here.
But I'll say this. The best experience of this whiskey is definitely the nose.
Yes. And again, I think it's got a decent mouthfeel, but the finish in that vegetable note is just not singing for me, Mike.
Yep, dude. I'm telling you, moss in the morning with mushrooms and cabbage.
Yeah.
Weird for a Lagavulin. I mean, I like it. It still has that Lagavulin aristocratic smoke and the normal Lagavulin profile and that sweet malt, because really the longer you've swallowed it before the sweetness kind of comes back. It's just that initial shock on the palate and instantly when you swallow.
Yeah, I think I've had this one time before with you, Mike, and I'm trying to bring back, but the problem I always have is we've had so many of these different Lagavulins, and they all in my head start swirling together. So I'm trying to think back to that first taste to try to help discern what I'm getting here, but I gotta tell you, it's not working well for me.
Yeah, you knocked it down for the most part pretty well. I mean, that's kind of what I've got. Again, when I compared the 318s, I called this the least of the 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not by a huge
But saying the least of 18-year-old Lagavulin is, it's 18-year-old Lagavulin.
Okay, well, let's get to it. Where are you at as far as the whiskey score?
84.
87.
Honestly, there's something going on here that just, I can't get past, and it's throwing it off for me. I'm not picking up the age. This comes off like a funky, weird version of the 12 that I wouldn't hate that I bought, but I wouldn't want to buy another of.
Okay, so to that point, as you know, with all my Lagavulins, I buy 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
Even like the distillery team picks, I bought 4 of that thing. If I like it, I bought one of these. I'm like, for another $300, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna do it because that's what the first one was, and I would not pay for that again.
Well, you just told me all I needed to know.
Yeah, for
18-year-old Lagavulin for $300. I already know something's wrong.
I mean,
in today's market,
that's about where the 16 was.
But
I mean, this was a year ago.
Yeah, today. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. But I mean, I feel like this would probably be $300 if it came out today, and you just paid what, 6, 7 for the 21s and 22s.
Oh yeah.
So the prices on Lagavulins are going up. I don't think this is one that would command the secondary once somebody tasted it.
No, I agree. And now you kind of talk about, all right, so now I'm going to knock it down a point to 86. But you're right, 87, 86 for me. It was a disappointing whiskey.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm enjoying most of it, but that finish is not pleasant, and it's not what I expect out of Lagavulin. So Lagavulin, maybe I'm a point low just because I expect more out of this distillery. But
sure, expectations. It's a letdown.
Yeah.
But I will say this. We're not far off as far as whiskey scoring. And being I'm a huge Lagavulin fan, I probably overrated it to some degree. Having said that,
yeah,
I knew this was going to be the least of the 18s.
yeah.
And all the specialty Lagavulins that I have, this might be one of the poorest.
I think we've had one NAS that we didn't like much. That probably is
The Jazz Fest. That's
comparable.
part. The Jazz Fest was
Comparable.
not. 2017 Jazz Fest. You're right. I probably like this a little bit better than 2017 Jazz Fest, but I probably have 20 specialty Lagavulins that aren't core range at all. I mean, this is one of the worst ones that I have that I will not rebuy again. Just like I'll never rebuy that 2017 Jazz Fest.
Yeah. So guys, if you're looking for Lagavulins, this channel's probably becoming one of the best channels as a resource because I think we've reviewed most of their special releases of the last 5 years.
Yeah, and I got 5 or 6 more to go. I mean,
Yeah,
I got the 22, a couple versions of the 21. Jazz
This
Fest
is the one.
22.
This is the one to pass.
Stay away from. Yeah, for sure. And again, as you know, if you are a regular to my channel, you know I love Lagavulin. You know it's not easy for me to say that this was a swing and a miss, but it is what it is. It's a swing and a miss. At least this one. Anyway, you're at an 84. I got talked down to an 86. Lagavulin, Fèis Ìle 2018, 18-year-old, bit of a disappointment. If you're a fan of Lagavulin, I would still say pick it up just so you can know the difference between a really exceptional Lagavulin, a mediocre Lagavulin, and a Lagavulin that's a disappointment.
And if you bought one of these and you're stuck with it, it's okay. You're not going to dislike this whiskey. It's just not going to...
Wow, you.
It's not what Lagavulin special releases are supposed to be.
No, and dude, this is not going to give this a chance. I mean, this bottle's here.
Yeah, we've been...
we've drank it for a while. And I've given this to multiple people.
Yeah, we've been holding off on this review for a while, just trying to make sure we could get to where we were ready. And we're like, it's not getting better.
Nope. It is what it is.
Yep.
Sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes you see somebody, you see a quarterback. See, I'm a Bears fan. You see Mr. Whisky.
Yeah.
So he played that second year. He's like, okay, there's some positive things. There were things you need to clean up. The next year, you didn't clean up any of the things you need to clean up. And then you say, okay, this is all you are.
Yeah.
This is just all this is.
Yep.
Mediocre Lagavulin. The Mr. Biscuit of Lagavulin, if you will. Anyway, if you guys had a chance to tell this, do you guys think I'm wrong about this one? Let me know. Dustin, until the next time, we'll wish the folks.
Happy drinking.
We'll see you next time.